Welcome, my name is Leah and I will be taking you through this lower body opening flow. We're going to get started today's practice on our knees, tucking the toes underneath, making sure the pinky toe is tucked forward. We're going to be opening up through the back of the feet. And while we're here, we'll take some neck rolls, rolling from one side to the other. If you like, you can also take it all the way around. Going both directions. If this ever gets too intense on your feet, you can release coming down to the top of your feet. We'll take one more roll. And now we're going to release the feet. We'll come into a tabletop, just maybe tapping the feet lightly on the mat. And we're going to come into a seated position, bringing our feet together in front of us. We're going to take the feet into a diamond shape, and we're going to sit here and take a couple of breaths. We're going to take the arms out in front of us and we'll take some wrist circles in one direction. And then in the other direction. We're going to bring the feet a little bit closer in. And again, we don't want it to be too much of a sensation. We're going to take the arms out in front. We'll point the hands down. Then we'll flip the fingers up towards the ceiling. And then back down, then back up. We're going to take the hand and push down on the right palm, back of the hand. So we'll take the hands and we'll push down the left hand will push down on the right hand, the back of the palm on the right hand. Then we'll point the fingers upwards and pulling back on the fingers. Do the same thing on the other hand, taking the back of the hand and pushing it with the right hand. Pointing the fingers upwards and then pulling back on the fingers. Release the arms down, giving them a shake if you'd like. And then we will come into a cross-legged position, whatever cross-legged position you'd like. And we're going to take some seated cat-cows. So as we inhale, we're going to bring the chest forward, belly forward, hips back, and chin up. Exhale, we're going to round in, tucking the tailbone and the chin into the chest. Inhaling, opening up through the chest. Exhale, rounding in. Do this 3 more times. Inhaling, coming forward. Exhale, round out. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, round out. We'll come back up through center. And we're going to make our way to the top of the mat and come into mountain pose. Taking the feet either together or hips distance apart. Palms facing forward. Taking a couple of breaths here to center ourselves in the mountain pose, grounding down through both feet. Inhale, we're going to lower the hips down as we raise arms up, coming into chair pose. Bringing the weight back into our heels. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale, half lift onto fingertips or hands on the shins. Plant the palms, step or hop back, come into plank pose. Take a flow, so you're either going to come all the way down to your belly or halfway down. Upward dog or cobra. And then bring your hips up and back into down dog. As we arrive here in our first down dog, we're going to take some movements to settle in. So if you wanted to pedal out your feet, bringing your heels up and down off the ground. If you'd wanted to take a side stretch, you can turn your toes to one side, heels to the other, and coming into a side stretch. Coming back through center, and then the other side. Once we've made it back through center and we've ground ourselves through both feet, we'll inhale, lift the right leg up, bend the knee, open the hip. We'll take some hip circles, so maybe 2 in one direction, and then 2 in the other direction. Taking the leg back up again, then we'll round forward, bringing the knee into the chest, stepping the right foot forward, and lowering the back knee down. Rise up onto the front leg, coming into low lunge. Taking a breath here, bringing hands to heart center. Bringing the hands down to frame the front foot, and you're going to walk the right toes out to the long edge of the mat, tucking the back toes, lifting the back knee, coming into lizard lunge. Take the left hand into more of the center of the mat. And we're going to lift the right arm up and bring it, windmill it all the way over, pointing all 10 toes towards the right side of the mat. You can either hold it up here, or you can walk the foot in closer to the middle of the mat and then lower your hip down. Wherever you are, we're going to rise back up, pivot the toes towards the front of the mat. Bring the hands to frame the front foot, lowering the back knee down and coming into half split. If you'd like, you can stay here, or if you wanted to, you can also lift both arms up, coming into more of an active stretch. Either way, you're stretching into the back of the hamstring, or into the hamstring. Bend back into the front knee, raise the left knee off the ground, rise up into lunge, lunging deep into the front leg, and staying strong through the upper body. We're going to straighten the front leg, and then pivot all 10 toes towards the long edge of the mat. Bringing the toes facing towards the corners of the mat and lowering yourself down into goddess pose. Lowering down as much as you can while keeping stable through the core. And we're going to inhale, lift one heel up, then lower, then other heel, then lower. Both heels together, hold, and then lower. We'll pivot all the way back to the top of the mat, coming back into lunge with the right knee forward. We're going to frame the front foot with your hands, bringing your knee up into your chest. And we won't come all the way back. We're going to turn your shin so it's parallel to the top of the mat, and we're going to lower all the way down into pigeon pose. If this is too much or it doesn't feel good in your body, you can also have the back leg bent or come into a stag pose. When your stag pose is bringing your knees on a 90-degree angle. For pigeon, you can have your foot tucked all the way into your hip or further forward. And now we're just going to slowly come down onto our forearms if that feels good. And we'll rise all the way back up through center, planting the palms and tucking the back toes, bringing the front knee back up into your chest and riding it all the way back into down dog. Inhale, take the right leg up and bend the knee, open the hip. We'll circle the hip one direction twice. And then the other direction twice. Bring the knee back up, open up the hip, bring the knee into the chest, step it forward, lower the back knee down, and rise up onto the front knee, coming into low lunge, hands at heart center, holding yourself strong here, not letting yourself dump into your joints. We're going to take both hands down, bring them on the inside of the left foot, and heel toe the left foot all the way out to the long edge of the mat. Planting both hands firmly down, tucking the back toes, and lifting the back knee. Coming into lizard lunge. We're going to take the right hand, move it more into the center of the mat, taking the left hand forward, and we're going to bring it all the way around as we pivot all 10 toes towards the left hand side of the mat. We can either stay risen up or we can lower down. And then we'll rise all the way back up, pivoting all 10 toes towards the front, centering the front foot, lowering the back knee, and extending the front leg, coming into half split. Here again, you can keep it as a passive stretch by having your hands down, or make it an active stretch by rising the arms up. Bending back into the front knee, tucking the back toes, rising up, lunging deep into the front leg. We'll straighten the front leg and we'll pivot all 10 toes towards the front of the mat, having your toes pointing out to the corners, and we'll lower down into goddess. Lifting the right heel up, then down. Left heel up, then down. And then both together and then down. We'll pivot back towards the front of the mat, coming into lunge again. Framing the front foot, tucking the heel into the chest. And then we're going to take the foot, the shin, and parallel to the front of the mat, and we'll come into pigeon pose. Again, you can come into any variation you'd like. We'll come into a good position, and then we'll lower down onto our forearms, or you can stay upright too. We'll rise all the way back up through center, planting the palms, tucking the back toes, lifting your knee to your chest, and riding it back into down dog. Inhale, lift the right leg up, bend the knee, open the hip. Exhale, knee to nose, and plant the right foot, bending the back knee down. Rising up onto your right leg, having your hands to heart center. Holding strong here for 2 more breaths. Taking both hands on the inside of the right foot, heel toeing the foot to the long edge of the mat. This time, instead of lifting the back leg in lizard lunge, we'll come into gecko, lowering the hips down as we bring the chest forward and open. If you wanted to, you could also come down to your forearms, or you could stay lifted or on your forearms, come onto the edge of the right foot and push the knee out. Keeping everything stable and making sure you open your chest up to the front. If you had your foot up, bring it back, and then we'll move back into the center, foot into the center of the mat. Oh, no, we'll keep the foot there. So lower the foot back down if you had it up. We'll take the right hand into the left hand into the center of the mat, lifting the back knee off the ground, taking the right arm up ahead, and we'll pivot all 10 toes towards the right side of the mat. Either stay lifted or lower down. Lift all the way back up, pivot all 10 toes back towards the front of the mat. We're going to bend the back knee down, straighten the front leg, coming into half split. If you wanted to, again, you could take the active variation by keeping your arms straight or keeping them down. Bend back into the front knee, raise the back knee off the ground, and we'll rise up into lunge. Straightening the front leg and pivoting all 10 toes towards the long edge of the mat. And we'll take the toes pointing slightly out. This time, instead of coming down to goddess, we're going to come into Skandasana. We'll start with the right side. So either you can come into Skandasana or you can come into skater's pose or skater's lunge. So either come to skater's lunge or you can come all the way down into Skandasana. You can use your hands or no hands to bring yourself onto the other side, either into skater's lunge or lower down. We can take the hands down, walk ourselves back towards the front of the mat. Having the right foot in front, and we'll rise up into lunge. Take the hands down, frame the front foot, tuck the back knee in. We'll bring the foot down, the shin down on parallel to the front of the mat, coming into pigeon pose. This time we'll come into an active variation. So we're going to want to scissor our legs together, lifting ourselves up. We can remove the hands or keep them down. We'll lower all the way down, and we're going to take the back leg all the way around, and we'll come into double pigeon. So taking the back leg and stacking your shins on top of one another. So your ankle is just on your knee. If not, if you're more in a cross-legged position, that is okay too. If you'd like, you can stay upright, or you can fold in. We'll take the top leg all the way back around into pigeon pose. Plant the front palms down, bring the knee to the chest, and come back into down dog. Inhale, lift the left leg up, bend the knee, open the hip. Take some hip circles. Bringing the knee up, opening the hip. Bringing the knee forward and placing the foot in between the palms. Lower the back knee down, rise up into lunge. Hands to heart center, keeping your base strong. Taking both hands down on the inside of the foot, heel toeing the left foot to the outer edge of the mat. Coming into Gecko lunge, keeping your back knee down this time. Again, you can stay here, or you can come on down to your forearms. You can also come onto the edge of the left foot and push the knee out, staying on your forearms or with yourself lifted. If you came into any of the other variations, bring your foot back into a neutral position, rise yourself back up, and you're going to heel toe the foot back into the center of the mat. And then we're going to lift the back toes up. Take the right hand into the center, left arm up ahead, pivot all 10 toes towards the left side of the mat. You can either stay risen or you can lower your hip down. We'll only be here for a breath. We'll come, pivot all 10 toes back towards the front of the mat. Bring the back knee down, extend the front leg long, flexing the front foot. Again, you can take the active variation or the passive variation. We'll bend back into the front knee. Come onto the ball of the back foot, rise up into lunge towards the front of the mat. We're going to straighten the front leg, then pivot all 10 toes towards the long edge of the mat. And again, we're going to have the toes just slightly pointing out, and we're going to start by taking Skandasana to the left side this time, or skater's lunge. So either come here, or you can come all the way down. And then we're going to walk all the way to the other side using your hands or without. Then crawling yourself all the way back to the front of the mat. Coming onto the ball of the back foot, left leg forward. Rise up into lunge. Take your hands down, frame your front foot, tuck the knee into your chest. We're going to bring the shin parallel with the front of the mat, coming down into pigeon pose. Again, we're going to take an active variation. So sometimes it helps if your knee is further out to tuck it in a bit, and you're going to scissor your legs up into each other. Hold. Then we'll lower all the way down. And we're going to bring the back leg all the way over and stack the shins one on top of the other. Coming into double pigeon. And if you'd like, you can make your way forward. Two more breaths here. We'll rise ourselves right back up through center. We'll take the top leg and swing it all the way back around into pigeon pose. Planting the hands on the ground, tucking the back toes, bringing your knee into your chest, and then coming back into down dog. We're going to tiptoe our feet all the way up to our hands. Bringing the feet as wide as the mat with the toes pointing out. Coming down into malasana, having the hands at heart center. Pushing the hands together as you push the elbows into the knees. If you'd like, you can bring your hands behind you to help you lower down to a seat. Having the knees bent, we're going to lower all the way down to our back. We're going to come into a bridge pose. And when we get to the top, we're going to come onto the balls of our feet. So we'll bring the arms along the body, palms face down. Inhale, raise the hips up. Once you reach the top, we're going to come onto the balls of the feet. Come onto the tiptoes. Hold. Lower onto the whole foot. And then slowly lower yourself all the way down to your back. We'll do this one more time. Rising all the way up. Once you reach the top, lift up onto your toes. Squeezing your knees together. And then slowly lowering all the way back down to the back. We're going to bring the knees about hips distance apart. Bring the right leg all the way over the left leg. Come onto the ball of the left foot, walking the hips over towards the right an inch, and then letting your knees drop down towards the left. You can bring your arms into any variation you'd like, into a cactus or a T. You can also turn your head towards the right for a bit more sensation and twisting the entire body. If this doesn't feel comfortable though, just keep your head wherever it is comfortable and you don't feel any tweaking on your neck. Bring yourself all the way back up through center, centering your hips, unraveling the legs. And we'll take it on the other side. coming onto the ball of the left foot, lifting your hips, walking them over towards the left an inch, and then lowering your knees down towards the right. You can look towards the left if you wanted a bit more of a stretch. Slowly bring yourself all the way back up through center, centering your hips, unraveling the legs. And we're going to bring the legs straight up towards the ceiling, coming into waterfall. If you wanted to, you can also extend your arms up. Just releasing any activation you have in your arms or your legs. If you'd like to, you can always use a wall for this stretch, letting your legs rest on a wall. Stay here for as long as you'd like. And whenever you're ready, you can come down into Savasana and come into stillness. Let yourself relax and melt into the mat. You can stay in Savasana for as long as you'd like. Thank you for joining me today. May the light in me honor the light in you. Namaste.